Okay, hey team, Ronnie Soud here with Soud Marketing, and today you guys are in for a treat. I am joined, it's not just me blabbing, but I'm joined by Casey Canant. Casey is the content and SEO manager for all of our clients at Soud Marketing.
Hello, no pressure.
So, I mean, oftentimes I think Casey is somewhat secretly the brains behind a lot of the conversions that our clients experience that get our content service. I've been on many videos of ours where I, say emphatically that I think 50% of the success, yes, lies within the ad manager who's building it out. But I think the experience that you give to people on the website and your ability to build trust is at least 50% of the success equation. And
yeah, I'll take credit for that 50% because I mean,
she's the brains behind all of that for us. So
no, but like we talk about a lot, it really is both sides of the house. Like the ads have to get the click and convince somebody to click over, and then they're going to land on the website. And just because they've landed on the website doesn't mean that they're a lead and certainly not a sale. So it's the website experience and specifically the content on the website that has to really kind of like, push them over the finish line. So it's a team effort, but I'm the one who pushes them over the finish line.
Exactly. I do the start gun, I guess.
Yeah.
So, we have a great video for you guys today. We are going to be discussing. Sorry, I'm outside today because my kids might be coming home from school, and this is where I can find peace for this video. But we're going to be discussing the role content plays in generating leads in sales, and the content on your website, I would say, is the most important part of your website. Is the words, as well as the images and other pieces that go to help inform a user and start them down that journey. So we've broken this up into 5 topics plus a bonus that Casey's going to be doing some deep dive on. And so the first thing is types of content. Please define.
Yeah. So a lot of times people just think kind of copy the words on your website. And so, yes, the copy is a very important part of the content. But content also includes the images that you use, videos, any kind of infographics. So a lot of times there's ways to get your messaging across visually versus words. And I'm a writer at heart. So it's hard for me to admit that because I always want to explain everything via words. But the truth of the matter is we're in a day and age where people don't necessarily do a lot of reading. So even the copy that you have on your website has to be written in a very easy to read, kind of scannable bullet points, lists, bolded areas, to try and entice your reader to actually read it. But then also a strong content strategy really looks at, okay, this is the information we want to portray, and then how can we best do that? Is it via images? Is it some kind of an infographic or a video, or even like linking to an audio if you have like a podcast episode? So really content takes many forms.
That's true. I think because not all pages should have the same elements on them, really. And so you should really give careful thought to that, I think. I think, video, there's so much talk about video today, but I don't think video belongs on every page. And I don't think people will consume video on certain pages of your website. I think they're looking for a quick scan. So you brought up a great point to where you really got to give thought to the type of content that you're putting out on each page. 2, another good point, like the content layout is vital, because if you want them to consume it, you have to give it to them in a consumable format, right?
Right. And that usually means kind of small bite-sized pieces. So this gets into, content kind of and website design, that your page and your website needs to be designed so that you have the ability to kind of serve up your content in those more consumable pieces, so to speak.
Right. Okay, so move on to our next topic here on the role content plays in generating leads and sales. But that's that your content has to inform and educate. And this sounds like a no-brainer, but when you go to most websites, they're really lacking the backbone of these two elements here, right?
It's true. And it seems like an obvious, but too many times I'll go to a company's site and it's kind of like, if I have to ask, okay, but what is it that you do? Then your content is not really informing and educating. And it's hard, I think, sometimes for companies and for even like inside marketers to step outside and think, okay, because you're so close to the information and you're in the business and you're in the weeds of it, to kind of step back and be like, okay, what does a first time visitor to our website need to know? And a lot of times you got to take like 3 steps back and really just blatantly tell them in the simplest terms what it is that you do. And then you do need to get into a lot of the nitty gritty. I think sometimes businesses are afraid to give too much information. But the fact of the matter is like, people are going to your website because they want to learn more about who you are and what you do. So, and you can't rely on them necessarily picking up the phone and calling to ask you questions, because that's just not really the world we live in anymore. People don't want to do that. They want the information they're seeking now. We are in like an instant gratification type of society. So you want to make sure that you're really answering all their questions, or as many of their questions as you can, like right there on your site, in an easy to navigate fashion, so that they have a really good experience.
Awesome. And I think so. To kind of deep dive on this a little bit more, I sort of want to back up, because this is one of the things to brag on both of us that I think we do well, that leads to a lot of success, is the initial communicating and the initial discovery with the client. I've been a part of a lot of other agency teams, and I don't feel like they deep dive with the client enough, or have enough of the right people in that discovery meeting to get a very comprehensive view of the business, to learn about the target market, to learn about the delivery of the product or service, and to learn about maybe some of the customer service and support struggles that you can also use content on your website to help improve.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's in those discovery calls a lot of times that we're able to pull out information that is kind of a differentiator for companies against their competition, that they might not see it as that, but even just kind of small tweaks in the way that you do your business, or what do you include in your proposals to a client? Like sometimes that's really detailed and wonderful that maybe your competition isn't doing. So we really do dive deep with the clients. And I think that helps us create content that sells, essentially, because you're picking out all those feature points that might have been overlooked.
In the moment, we might annoy them, but it creates gold. So,
well, because I think sometimes businesses, you're so close to what you do. So to be stopped and like think about, okay, like what do you do differently, or like answer a bunch of questions really nuanced about, all right, well, if I were to call and say I want to set up a quote or an appointment or whatever the next step is, what are we discussing in that first meeting? It's like they do it so just matter of factly because they do it all the time. But to be able to kind of lay out that whole process, and that's something we're big on including in content for somebody, so there's like no surprises, and they're like, oh, okay, this is everything I'm going to get if I go with this company or buy this product or whatever. That's very valuable.
Right. And so to hint on the last point she just made, and maybe define it a little more too, a lot of companies, like she said, they're so close to it, they don't think about the benefits of the service and the benefits of the customer using them, the features that the customer will get from using them for that product or service, and also the process. Like I think that's the biggest blank face I get, is I'm like, okay, so take me through the process. And it should be something you're like, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? But that's actually something that sort of stumps people. So it's nice that we come in and help them define that. But
Mhm.
that's also a big part. If you're a consumer, that's how you're essentially onboarding as a customer with that business. So it's important to define that. And I think get the prospects that are going to convert, help them really build trust with you in that fashion.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. You mentioned like benefits, features, process. Those three elements we discuss a lot and are big. And I think the benefits sometimes it depends on what your service is or what your product is and who your target market is. Like, are you having to sell them on the service in general and then
Mhm.
also you? Because sometimes that's the case. And so you have to kind of present the benefits of the service or the product and then get into the benefits of going with that specific company. So there's a lot to cover, but those three things I think are huge: benefits, features, which is really more the specifics of everything, and then the
Mhm.
process, so the customer really knows everything they're getting and there's no surprises.
Exactly. And kind of our next point in this discussion, I think this leads into, which is build trust. And ultimately, this is the first step in building trust with a customer. So most people, they either get told, go check out this company, their website is X, or they click an ad, or they see something up on social media. And so this is your first chance to start building trust with them as you being a reputable provider of that product and service.
Yeah, and I think even like this day and age that you're a legit company. I mean, there's a lot of ads out there now that are going to take you to a website where you're going to try and buy a product and it's coming from who knows where and it's going to take forever
Mhm.
and it's impossible for you to return it. And so that's why now a lot of people are really looking at websites to make sure like, okay, is this a real company with, actual people behind it running it, that if I have an issue, like I can call somebody. So I think that's more kind of on the product end, but on the service side of things, you're kind of showing, you need to show that like, well, I guess, yeah, you are like legit. Like, so we're professionals. So we're going to come and we're going to give you a quote on this. And then we're going to send you a proposal. It's going to outline this. And then we're going to do X, Y, Z. And so they feel better. Like there's going to be no surprises. So yeah, I think that, that trust is a huge factor in your content.
Exactly. And I really do believe building trust with the community, with your prospects starts on the website. And then I think this leads into point number 4, where if you're building trust, message consistency. Okay. You don't want to have this fantastic experience up on the website. And then your customer service doesn't sort of mimic that same vibe, those same points, so
Mhm.
on and so forth. And so this was a big point for me personally, because I feel like a lot of people use their websites as a brag piece. And then when it comes to actual execution, they tend to fall a little bit short on that. Or when it comes to customer communication, they fall short on that. I think even messaging consistency, possibly company scripting, should start on the website, because you're starting to inform on the website first before they even call, before they write in through a form, before they engage with live chat. And so this point really drove home with me, because use the website as your central meeting point, and have all of your employees comb through that, so that your benefits, your features, your process, your hell, your promotional offers,
Mhm.
they're well informed when they're out in the field or when they're picking up the phone with a prospect. Like everyone can just be more on the same page.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, your website is where you're establishing your messaging and your brand voice. So it's like your website is where you can control everything. You can put a lot of planning into it. Everything can be approved and it goes up and it's like it's solid. It's like this is how we want to talk about our company, what
Hmm.
we do, why we do it, what we sell, how we sell it, all of that. And then from there, whether you have salespeople out talking, to your point, like they should have been on the website, kind of be mirroring the same messaging. That should also be consistent within like your social media marketing, your email marketing. The website is kind of like the hub of all of your messaging. And so then all your other channels in which you're communicating with customers and prospects should tie back to that website.
It's true. So I want to tell a quick story about a prospect that we had. And so he was going up against pretty stiff competition. And so this one competitor in particular, they had great website content in terms of, really good headlines. Stuff was in bullets. They did a great job of giving you the features and the process and all that. And so they were in roofing. And one of the things that they had in bullet points all over their service pages was that they pressure wash your driveway when they're done. And that's a huge benefit of them. So I went back and I told my prospect that, and I'm like, hey, look, they pressure wash. Like, can you do that? Is it part of your business model? And so he tells me, he goes, oh no, we do that too. But that's a secret that, that we surprise them with. I'm like, buddy, you're not even getting the opportunity to surprise them with that because the other company lists it front and center, and it's part of the fabric of when they sell, and you're holding back. So they have, on paper, on the web, like they look like they have better features of going with them than you. And so that's where that consistency in messaging can really change the amount of prospects that move to sales, right? And just making sure the company's on the same page.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like sometimes people have a hesitancy to include certain information they would have no problem sharing over the phone, sharing that on their website. And there are some cases, I guess, where that makes sense because you want to have a live person able to, be in that conversation. But you don't want to be holding back any features or benefits to what you do. Like you want to be giving all that information first and foremost on your website. And then your customer service and your salespeople, they can reinforce that in their, it's okay for them to say something you've maybe already read on the website. Like people don't necessarily retain. I mean, there's some stat out there about how many times you have to read or hear something before you actually remember it. So, I mean, it's probably valuable to be hitting your main message points over and over again.
Exactly. Because once they leave your website, you're not guaranteed to get them back. So you want to make sure you got your absolute best presentation.
Unless you use our retargeting ad services, and then you'll
good pitch. Okay, so we were talking about informing and educating, building trust, using content and the website maybe as like a first base to messaging consistency for the rest of the company. That all roads sort of lead to asking for business in the way in which you do that.
Yeah, I laugh. We have one client, and I won't say who they are, but on some of their service pages, they gave a lot of information, did great on the inform and educate, but there was never a call to action. There was never like, what's the next step on how you work with us? They didn't ask for the business. And yes, there's a contact us button up there in the navigation, but like ultimately, like you are trying to sell these people on what you do. So, your website really needs to be this kind of beautiful combination of information and a sales pitch, like, cause that's ultimately why you're in business, to sell the service or product that you sell. So you have to have some kind of call to action, whether it be submit a form, a click to call button right there. But I mean, don't be shy about it. Call us today to, then you can insert one of those benefit statements, whatever that may be. So, yeah, I do laugh a little bit whenever I go to a site and a service page or a product page, and it isn't, ask me for the business.
Right. Yeah. And then all they have is like one contact us link up in the nav that might not even be visible on a mobile device.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you want those call to actions. You want it to be very clear and easy for people to take that next step, whatever it is. So don't make them go to a bunch of different pages. It's easy to set it up that there's a form kind of in your footer, so it's going to follow them everywhere, like whatever, jump links, whatever you want to use, but you got to make it easy for people to be like, okay, you know what? I do want to talk to this company more.
Very good point. You got to make it easy. Also, I think you also have to set the expectation to what are they going to get? Are they going to get a free consultation? Are they going to talk to an expert? Are they going to, by today's standards, are they going to call and get someone in customer service that will then set an appointment? What's that experience going to be on the other end of that click or submission or whatever? So,
and again, that goes back to like transparency and building trust, like letting people know, like don't make it a mystery for them. Let them know, like if you fill out this form, here's what's going to happen. Like we're going to contact you, or you're going to get an email with a scheduling link to set up an appointment or whatever it is. Like the more information you give them, the more likely they are to, submit the form or make the call or whatever it is.
Right. They feel better about what they're going to be doing or comfortable. So, okay. Now this wouldn't be a Soud marketing experience without some kind of a bonus. So if it's in person, if you meet with us, the bonus is usually some kind of a dessert. We have a sweet tooth, but here, so also shouldn't be talking to Casey without somehow sprinkling in a little bit about SEO, which really goes hand in hand. If you're creating content, should be optimized.
Yeah, because you have to think of your website. It's not just prospective clients, customers, visitors to your site that are reading your website. The search engines are also. So Google, obviously the big one, Bing. So you need to be structuring your content and including information in a way that the search engines are going to understand what you do as well. And then, and the SEO kind of spans from on-page optimization to kind of the keywords you're using, internal links, alt tags, all that kind of stuff, and then some back-end technical things. But it is just important to remember that when you're developing your website, when you look at your website, you have two audiences. You have your potential customers and you have the search engines, and both are important.
I also think, and we work this in with a lot of our clients, and I like that you help with that, is that when you're rewriting your site or when you're expanding pages or what have you, look at the other properties that hold your content, like your Google business profile, your Bing profile, your Facebook business page, Instagram page. Those are other opportunities to where you can get messaging consistency through intro copy, that will then mimic what people will experience in a more full experience up on the website. And so I wouldn't forget about those, and maybe tack that on to whatever your content development team is doing for you.
Yeah, and that's a good point. That kind of ties back to that message consistency, and your website really kind of being the first base. Is once you have all that and you feel good about the content on your website, it's easy then to pull those little blurbs here and there to put into your, your Facebook description or your Google business profile description or whatever it may be. And so then you have that consistency and you're not thinking, oh, okay, how do I describe what we do here? Like you already have it.
Right. So, that's it in terms of the tips we have for the role content plays in generating leads and sales. This is a wildly important topic. And the one thing that I think, if you take nothing else away, number one, visit your website and visit all of the, maybe top pages of your site, the homepage, the service and or product pages. Do you feel like you have given a great presentation to first-time users there? Is that your absolute best efforts? And take some of the tips that Casey has discussed and see if those are mimicked on your own website page. And then sort of the second thing is I would do that on mobile and make sure that you like the way your content presents on a mobile phone, because more than likely today, that's where it's going to be viewed.
Yeah, that's a huge point we haven't really touched on in content. You need to be thinking about both mediums, somebody sitting at a desktop and then somebody on their phone, because most people are going on their phone. And I do want to point out, just because I was having this conversation with somebody earlier, that you know, it's kind of like COVID probably accelerated the need for every business to have a good website by like 5 years or something. I mean, it's really like, so it's like no matter what business you're in, like people are going to be going to your website, and like that's sometimes that's a first impression that you only get one chance to make. So I mean, it's, you really, like every business at this point in time needs to have a good website experience. It's just the expectation that everybody has, and when they go to your site, if it's kind of subpar, you know, that's, again, that's the first impression you've then left with them.
Exactly. You know, two, that doesn't always mean a redesign. So I think there's a lot of progress you can make just by editing the copy and maybe some of the infographics or adding some in and aligning with better images. I don't think you always need to launch into an expensive website redesign. I think investing in content is a wise investment that'll probably, well, not probably, but definitely will pay you more over the years than even a website design would.
For sure. And I think sometimes even just a nice like website reorganization. So sometimes businesses, they have all the content there. It's just maybe not organized correctly, you know, that they don't have separate service pages or separate product pages, separate location pages. So sometimes it's all there and it just needs to be restructured a little bit in how it's displayed.
True. So, you know, I don't have anything else right now on this topic. We are going to be coming out with other content and SEO videos. If y'all are interested in ads, I have all kinds of videos on there about ads for Google ads and Facebook ads as well. So anyway, thank you all for watching. And if y'all have any questions or want to talk about content, don't hesitate to reach out to us. There's buttons and links up on YouTube, Facebook, and on the website, wherever you might be viewing this, in terms of easily getting a hold of us. So we would love to talk with you about the content on your site. This is a big passion of ours, something that we enjoy huddling with as a team. So, all right.
Definitely.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.